Happy Crafternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Well, today we are going to make a puzzle piece fold card kind of thing. I had a dream about this last night, and I just want to see if it's going to work the way I envision it to work. So we'll see. Now, don't hate me because I'm going to use the same layering stencil and die set that I've used on the last couple of cards. And that's just because I love it so much and because I really love to give you guys lots of different ideas to do with things that we release. I'm not a one and done kind of person. I will probably be using this stencil for many years to come, so you're going to continue to see it show up now and then. But since our new release is next Tuesday and I'm going to have a whole new kit to work with, I thought I have to get one more card in with this beautiful mini Magnolia. And it's the perfect type of stencil and die set for this technique that I have in my mind, if it works the way I think it's going to work. So fingers crossed, you guys will go through it with me and we'll see what we can do. But before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy Crafternoon, everybody.
How are you today?
I am better than horrible.
I'm all windblown. I don't know what happened to me today.
Yeah, you're just, and you're dreaming about.
I do. I dream about card making. And I saw this technique in my head, and it's probably been done before. I mean, I don't think there's an original idea in the world out there, but this might be a different way to do it because you could step this up and turn it into a shaker if you wanted. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. So
yeah, I dream too. I dream I'm in the land of shards. And I'm making shard cards in the land of shards, and shards are growing all over the place.
That sounds very pokey and painful.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully this card'll make it today. We'll see what happens.
Sounds fun. I got a peek at what was strewn about your desk, and it looked very fun.
Yeah, well, it's taken a couple twists and turns, and I really think that this card might be better used or this technique might be better if you had multiple different die cuts, but I'm going to do it with one today, and then our brilliant chat, our brilliant audience, brilliant friends, they're going to probably step this up and take it to the next level with lots of different ways that they can do this. So
yeah, and I made a few flyby recommendations or suggestions, and it was like, get out of here.
Yeah, you're in my space.
Get away from me.
Why are you here? Well, let's see how this goes today, okay?
Yes.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this once again. Oh, I just dropped it. No, where did it go? Oh my gosh, Tom. Oh, here it is. I was going to say this card is not meant to be if I lose the die. So once again, I'm going to be using the mini Magnolia and the layering stencils for the mini Magnolia today. And then the concept of this card is that we're going to create a piece that we're going to be able to drop in like a puzzle. And this is going to create an outside element and an inside element. So this way, the card on the front has a beautiful look about it, but when you open it up, the element is actually on the inside. And we're just going to drop this piece in like a puzzle piece. Now, I think it would be, like I said, more fun if we had like maybe different flowers and stems and leaves, and we could kind of cut these out all over the top of the card. But for the sake of just getting the basic technique, let's go ahead and do it with this one. All right, so for my card base, I wanted to use today some innocent pink. I have to get away from the reds. I've been doing so many red cards lately, and I've been doing a lot of turquoise cards, and I haven't done much with pink. So we're going to do innocent pink. And then I thought that the carnations would be a really nice blend with the innocent pink. And then for the greens, I'm going to use Jelly Bean and Fresh Asparagus, since I've been using that one a little bit, and some of you already probably have it sitting out on your desk. And you can see the light carnation works really nicely with the innocent pink. However, innocent pink is a little bit more peachy. So when you actually see the innocent pink on the cardstock, it's got a little bit more, it dries up to this pink color, but it's got a little bit more of a peachy hue to it, where the light carnation is a little bit more of a pinky hue. Can you see the difference there? This is more peachy, this is more pinky. This is a really nice one to mix with Peach Bellini, where this one is going to step up to a more pinker color like the medium carnation. They're close, but they're not exactly the same. But both of them are in that vein, so if you wanted to have this reflect a little bit more of the peach tones that's in this cardstock, you could use innocent pink. If you want it to reflect a little bit more of the pink tones, then I would go with the light carnation. So I'm going to do light carnation because I'm going to be using the other carnations. And then I thought it would be fun to use our Chalet Background stamp. This is a beautiful background stamp, and I love it so much. And it was released in the 12 Days of Christmas box, but now it's back in our regular inventory. And because I am doing kind of a single layer card on the front, I'm going to do a couple techniques to decorate it to make it look like it has some more layers than it actually has. Okay, so that's going to be in this video too. So we're going to start by scoring this piece of cardstock at 4 1/4 inches. It's cut 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And we're going to score it to this 4 1/4 inch mark. And we want to get it nice and flat. Okay, that's pretty good there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that Chalet Background stamp onto here. So let's get that out. And then pull off this index sheet, and I'm just going to lay it on its back. I never take these sheets off of the background stamps. The first reason I don't is because if you put them on upside down, where you put this side toward the stamp, the printing is going to come off of this. That'll happen with any of your stamps that any of your clear stamps that you have. If you put the index sheet on upside down, the ink transfers onto here, and it's really hard to get it off. It won't damage it, it just won't look as clear. Plus, I only ever use these stamps kind of on their back like this. So I really don't see the need to, to take this off. Now, here's a little tip for you. If you're nervous about this stamp shifting around when you are going to add the background, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to ink this up and stamp it like this. If you're worried about this moving around, get your double background grit mat, your photopolymer double background grit mat. I always leave mine in my MISTI. And I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to just lightly tack it down here. Now, it shouldn't pull too much color off here. I don't think it will. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. But you can stick that on there, and that will prevent it from moving around. You may lose a little bit of the color onto the double background grip mat. So if you don't like that, then don't use this. I don't feel a need to use it, but I know some people are a little nervous about it moving around. And that's why they like to take the index sheet off. The other suggestion I have is if you're going to take the index sheet off, just leave the index sheet, maybe tape it to your stamp pocket or just leave it in your stamp pocket and then just throw this in with just this side of the index sheet on, not putting this one back on, just in case you put it on backwards. It's really hard to determine which side is the printed side and which side isn't. Now, maybe you can feel it. Maybe it's my diabetes and I don't have as much feeling in my fingertips anymore, but I have a hard time feeling it. All right, so we want to do something very subtle here. All right, we don't want this to be a big, bold color. So let's test it. I have a little piece of, let me just cut this down here.
So could you use the sticky mat?
Yeah, you can use the sticky mat, but the sticky mat also moves around a little bit. So, because that's not grippy on the back, so I would just do it this way. I just lay it right here. Once you get that cardstock on there, the cardstock does stick on there, so it's not going to shift around that much. All right, so I'm going to just test this color on a little piece of Innocent Pink before I make the commitment here. So this is the light Carnation, and I just want to test it right here to see what this color looks like. And I tend to use my index sheet from the stamp just so I don't get ink all over my fingers. But you see, even if this is moving around, it doesn't matter because the paper is stuck onto this stamp. So I don't think we're going to have a problem. Okay, that's really pretty. I was wondering if I'd have to go down a tone if this was going to be too light, but I think once this fades up to the correct color, this is going to be a beautiful color. Just a nice little bit of texture on there to create a little bit of interest when it comes to the front of this card. Now you could use something different if you want. You could use like the snowy background or the close knit if you want more of a sweater look. Either one is fine, or whatever you have. You can use anything you want, or you can stencil it instead. Whatever you like to do, but I'm going to use the Chalet because I really, really love this stamp. Okay, now I'm going to ink this stamp up completely because I don't know where I'm going to land on here. And the biggest trick with this is making sure that it's straight. So if you're concerned about that, you might want to use something a little less patterned, like maybe the Petite Flourish or something like that, where it doesn't really have to be straight if you're nervous about it. But we'll see. I mean, it might not look great for me. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Okay, and I really want to make sure I get enough ink on here so that I get a good transfer. And the reason I don't use these stamps in my MISTI is because I can't get enough pressure on it, even with a Chucky tool or a pressure tool of any kind, a brayer. I just can't get the pressure that I want. The only way I can get the pressure is by doing it this way. So I'm going to lay it down here as straight as I can. And we'll see. Hopefully that's pretty straight. And I'm going to put my index sheet on top, and then I'm going to press. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. You just have to make sure that the paper makes contact with the stamp everywhere. And that's why I like to do my background stamps this way. Okay. I think I've touched it everywhere. I am going to just kind of run my finger down here along the seam because that could be a spot, although I don't even think I'm going to see that. Okay, that looks really nice. Isn't that pretty? It's a great background stamp. I love this one. And now when we do our stenciling using that color, the light carnation, it'll bring that color in. So I think that's good. Good. So try using your background stamps that way and see how you do. See how you like it. And now I'm just going to clean this up with the dirtiest tidy towel. I probably am getting ink all over my fingers from that.
Question from Lori. Could you possibly tell us the correct order to use the magnetic set? Should the cut show up on the magnetic plate?
Should the cut show up on the magnetic plate? The cut should show up on your magnetic mat. Not on the plate, on the mat. So I'll use it to cut this out just so that you can see it.
And will the ink cubes work for the inking up the background stamp?
You know what? They do. My daughter Rena, when she was making videos for us, she had only ink cubes and she would use big background stamps. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a lot more of a struggle. Ink pads make it very easy and give you a very, very smooth look. But you can do it. So she did it and she's got videos on her channel showing that. All right, so let me get the intercut out here. And you want me to use the magnetic plates. So we've got the magnetic platform, which is this piece right here. That goes down first. Then you've got the magnetic cutting mat, and this is the only place that you cut. You do not cut on this side. This is not a cutting surface. You just cut on the C for cut. And then you just put those together, and that creates the magnetic part. All right. Then we're going to take a piece of white cardstock. Let's see if I can find a piece. Here we go. Piece of white cardstock. And we're going to put the die on here. This is the die for the mini Magnolia. And then we're going to just take the B plate and put that on top. And we're going to cut it. Yeah, I mean, you can do it. It's with the ink cubes. It just takes longer, right? Because you've got a big 6x6 background stamp and you've got a little 1.5 by 1.5 inch ink cube. All right, so I'm going to cut 2 of these just to be on the safe side because I might want to use 2 and I don't want to get the machine out again to cut one if I decide to do another one.
Question, will you be having blank swatch cards for the newest colors?
I don't make swatch cards, so we don't have swatch cards. We just have color labels. So there might be somebody who's made swatch cards that put them in our Facebook group, but that was probably a member that did that. So they may have updated. I'm not sure. That's something that you can ask in our Facebook group. But we don't make swatch cards for our products right now. That might be something we do later. The only swatch cards that we have are the foil swatch cards. So, and then we have blanks in there so that as we come out with new foil colors, which we have, you can create those using the blank ones. Okay, so now Gotta stay on task here. So now what I'm gonna do is I am going to cut. Before I do that, let me do something else. You guys know I can't make a card without black, right? Gotta have black. So let me grab a piece of black cardstock and I'm gonna cut it down to a 1/4 sheet. All right. I'm just cutting it off the camera here so I don't have to move the die cutting machine. Okay. 1/4 sheet. And that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that is going to go on top of my card here. So I'll be trimming this card down just ever so slightly to make sure that none of those pink edges, you see how the pink edge is just sticking out a little bit. You know, cutting, the thing about cutting is when you're hand cutting with a cutter, it's never perfect. And even sometimes when you get the cardstock, it might be a 1/16 of an inch bigger or a 1/16 of an inch smaller. It is all cut on a big industrial cutter. And sometimes, you know, when we're cutting it, it can shift just ever so slightly. So it's pretty good, but sometimes you could see, I mean, I don't even think that's a 1/16 of an inch. That might be a 32nd of an inch. But I'm just going to trim that off. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to fuss with it. But what I am going to do here is, and I like to use my magnetic plates for the master layouts because they're big and sometimes they can create some bending of your plates. And my opinion is this is a cheap plate to replace. The magnetic ones are more expensive. I'd rather use those for what it was intended for, coordinating dies. Now, let's take a look here. We can have a wide border if we want, or we can have a skinnier border. This is Master Layouts 2. So I'm going to go for the little bit of a skinnier border. I think that's going to look good around the outside of this card. So I want to line that up. And then this is going to give me a black border that's going to go around the outside. And I'm going to tape this down so it cuts straight. Okay, and now I'm going to cut this out. Yes, just the small dies on the magnetic plate. This way, and then you can move them all around the plate, so you can cut up at the one corner, the other corner, in the middle, down, down, and it helps prevent warping of the magnetic plate. Because since you can't flip it over, it's more likely to warp quicker than something like this, which, you know, now I can flip it over and do it the other way and start bending it in the other direction. Now my goal here was to create a frame that's going to go around the outside. Like that, so I can have that little pop of black in there. I think that's going to be pretty. But we are going to have to trim this down. So I'm just going to move this out of the way and get my little paper cutter. And then I'm going to trim this down just a tiny bit, like a hair. See, took about a thick hair. So let's see how that looks. Looks pretty good. I feel like I can make that work. Maybe I'll take a hair off the side too. Okay. There we go. There we go. Now, do we like that thick border? I think it looks nice. We could always make the border thinner by going up to Master Layouts 1. So if we wanted the border to be a little bit thinner, we can do it. Now I'm going to add this die on here, and I actually can cut it even a little bit underneath that frame if I want. But I think I'll allow the whole thing to show like that. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take that because I've positioned it where I want it. I'm going to put that down here. That's our masking magic, just to hold it in place. And I'm going to hold it in place on the inside because this whole thing's going to drop off, and this way I don't have to worry about it tearing on the outside. It shouldn't tear, but you never know when you put enough pressure on it. We just want to be better safe than sorry. Alrighty, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this and I'm going to cut out a window into this card. So we'll have a little bit of a window. And welcome everyone. It's great to see you on this Thursday. I hope nobody's working too hard today. Maybe some of you are on your lunch break. Okay, so now we've got a window here. Okay. And I'm going to save this because I might want to pop up the design inside, and I can use that as a background for one of these. You know what I mean? Like if I want to layer it up, I mean, no need to throw that away. I can just layer them together. You're not going to see it behind there. So why throw it away? It'll always be good for that when you want to pop it up. Now, what I want to do here on the inside is I want to create a inside panel for my card because I don't want this to be on pink. I want it to be on white. I want a white on white look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 master layouts dies, but I do want to make sure that when I position this one on the inside, I'm using the die to determine that you're not going to see the edge. And I think you might see the edge in there. But actually, I think the flower will go on there. So I think it'll be okay. Let's get a piece of white cardstock and cut that out. And then we're going to cut a black one using the plain die from Master Layouts 2. So we're going to have a little bit of delicate stitching in here. Now, if you want, you can always, for the inside of the card, you could add that chalet stamping, maybe in a soft gray, like soft stone, just to have a little more interest on it. You could stencil in there just to have a little interest. But what I like about this technique is it allows you to just create one design that's both on the outside and on the inside. So I used Master Layouts 2, the larger die, to cut this outside frame. And now I can use this piece as the inside, so I don't have to cut it again. Now let's do some floral stenciling. But before we do that, no, I think we're going to do the floral stenciling first. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to get my sticky mat, and I showed you this before, but I'll show you again. Whenever you're stenciling on a die cut piece like this, to make it easy so you're not kind of twisting around and trying to figure out which end is up, it's always a good idea to take one of the main layers, which is this one here, and line it up onto your flower. Doesn't have to be perfect, but once you get it in the right position, then you can put it on your sticky mat so the stencil is squared. And that'll just make it easier for you to figure out, you know, which orientation. If you stuck it on there sideways, you know, if you'd put it on there like this, you'd be like trying to figure it out the whole time. And this way you always know that if the stencil is squared off, it's the right way. All right, and a big shout out to Brianne Loveland, my buddy, my Link Ninja. She is in the chat, and this is her inkstand. Brianne, go ahead and link it. This is what I use all the time whenever I'm doing stenciling. I love the inkstands, especially when I'm using colors that are very close to each other. Sometimes having the lid right here prevents you from putting the wrong lid back onto the ink pad. So And it also lets you know when they're all open what color is what. And you don't have to get your hands all inky either. So I'm going to lay this down. And the reason why I always cut my die cut piece first is because see how easy that was to line up? But if I was doing this freehand on a piece of white cardstock, I could easily shift the leaves just a little bit, and then it would be really, really hard to die cut it, because something would be shifted and you'd be like, why doesn't this die fit? It does fit. So cut your die first and then go ahead and do your stenciling. So we're starting with the light carnation. This color, it is the best. So I'm going in one direction and then I'm going in the opposite direction, kind of wax on, wax off. And the reason why I do that is because when you have these tiny little openings like this stencil has, sometimes the brush can't get all the way in and get it on both sides, and you've got like a white edge, and that just prevents that white edge. Okay, so now we have our first color here, which I just think it's just a really nice match. And now we're going to move to the medium carnation. Get this open. And we're going to go with layer 2. And if you're ever really struggling to get your stencil lined up, make sure you don't have it flipped over. Our stencils, most of them, not all of them, but most of our stencils have at the bottom the name of the stencil. Can you see that if I get it right in the light? It says Mini Magnolia. Even if you can't read it because maybe your eyes aren't as good anymore. I know mine aren't, but I can feel it. So I've gone to seeing to using Braille for crafting. It works though. You can feel it. So, okay. And then what color is on here? I don't know. Let's just rub this color off. That is a very, very bright pink. I don't know if I want something that bright. I might leave that for Petunia and Passionate Pink and Bubblegum, and I think I will move to this brush here, and we're going to add this medium carnation. I thought I had a brush dedicated for this, but you know how it is. There was a thread on Facebook talking about somebody dropped a magnet, a die, and they couldn't find it, and everybody was giving advice where to look for it, that it could be stuck to your MISTI, and it could be stuck to your scoring board. It could be, and people were saying, get a magnet, get your MISTI magnet and look for it. And we're all the same. I do it all the time. I drop my dies and I don't know where they went. I did get a little magnetic bowl, which is kind of nice, that you can throw dies into so they don't just disappear. But then I lost that. I don't know where I put that. So honestly, guys, what is happening? Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of dark carnation. Even though there isn't a third layer here, I want to add a third layer. And so I'm going to dedicate I have a big and a large and a small blending brush dedicated to the carnations. I'm going to dedicate this little flathead detail brush to the dark carnation. And I'm going to just add a little bit of that right near the bottom just to bring in some depth in here. And you can see I'm starting this on the stencil and just allowing the bristles to trickle over the edge. And I'll do a little bit in here too. That just creates a really pretty depth. If you don't have a third layer, just add a little bit of a darker color right near the bottom of whatever that second layer is. And it just makes everything glow a little bit more. There we go. Okay, So now we've got those beautiful flowers. Now next we're going to add our leaves. So I'm going to get this one in place. And we're going to go with jelly bean green and fresh asparagus for this. The spruces also look really pretty with this. If you're going for something, that's what we need, magnetic gloves. Somebody needs to invent those if they're not already invented. Somebody get on that right away. So I'm going to use jelly bean green. I also love the spruces. The spruces, if it's like a sympathy card or something and you want to tone it down a little bit, the spruces are such a beautiful green. But jelly bean is such a fun, springy green. And that's what I'm kind of in the mood for today. I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for spring. For those of you that have pets at home, do you notice that like when the sun shines a little bit into the windows, they seem happier? I noticed that with our cat today. He seems a lot happier since the sun is shining today in Wisconsin. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the fresh asparagus. And let me find a smaller green brush. I'm just going to use a detail brush for this. I'm going to add a little fresh asparagus along the side here. I do have a second layer of this, but I want to increase where that goes. I just want a little more depth on this. And just these leaves. Oh, maybe I'll do them all.
And from Paulette, should you die cut first, then color, or vice versa?
You definitely should die cut first. And if you're just joining us, if you go back just a little bit into the video, maybe do the rewatch, I give a good explanation of why you should die cut first. Okay, well, that's pretty by itself. Now I'm going to add this layer. Let's see. I got the sample ones, and not all of them have the words on them, so sometimes I have to struggle bus it a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to add a little bit of fresh asparagus, like right down at the bottom here of each of these. And I'm going to go right up the center. And I definitely could have done the whole thing just in fresh asparagus, but kind of like the shading that you get when you do that. So you get a little bit more shading like into the side areas and stuff, and it kind of makes that jelly bean glow a little bit more. Okay, well that is ready to go. Now I am going to, first I'm going to put this panel onto the outside of the card so I have a frame. Now maybe this frame is too much. Do you guys think this frame is too much? Because my flower is gonna, it might be too thick, you know? Like, what do you guys think? What do you think, Tom? Is this too much? I might cut a different frame, and I might, let's see, what are they saying? Do they like the frame or not? I don't know. I feel like the frame might just be overkill. I want a frame. I just feel like this frame is too thick. Do a poll? Okay. All right. Good idea. Good idea. Is the frame too thick? Yes or no? There we go. Because I can make it thinner by using Master Layouts 1 instead. And that will give us, I can even change up the color too. I could, oh my gosh, 87% so far. Like, yes, it's horrible. You know what? I'll tell you what. let's do a thin white frame instead. I think a white frame with the white showing on the flower, I think that's going to make all the difference. I think the black is just too much for this card. Gray would be nice too, but I think that the white, because we don't really have any white on the outside of the car, we're going to go with white. So Tom, while I create a white frame, would you come on in and do a word of the day?
Well, okay.
Hey, hooray.
Word of the day, oh hey, hooray. Let's laugh it up, don't delay. Word of the day, it's here to stay.
Okay. Very simple word of the day today. You, Gina, are, as many of us know, an exceptional Italian cuisine cook.
Oh,
It's in your blood. It's in your
my blood.
heritage. You just do it right. Yes. But not everybody can say that, especially me. I make a decent pizza,
you make a great pizza.
but that's it. And then that's not always the case. So I'm what's known as an impasta. Impasta.
That's cute.
Word of the day. Back to the dead space.
Oh, that's very cute. Okay. So I am going to use Master Layouts 1. Now this is the smaller die from Master Layouts 1. I can go even skinnier with the large die from Master Layouts 1. And I feel like we're all going to like this better right off the bat. Just the skinny little white layer. So let's go ahead and add a skinny little white layer. I'm not even going to take a poll on this one because I think it might still be too thick. Which is interesting because we have a frame in Master Layouts 18 that is a very thick frame, which looks really good. But I think for this case, this very small, thin frame is going to be what we're looking for. It's going to be more delicate. All right. You can get a magnetic wand at the dollar store with an extender so you can find your dies on the floor. Oh, dollar store, here I come. I probably told some of you guys this story already, but I had no idea that Five Below was a dollar store. Do you guys have Five Below where you are? I had no idea. I thought it was a winter clothing store. I was looking for a coat, and I went there. Imagine my surprise when there weren't coats at Five Below. But come on, that name would have been a great name for a winter coat store. Okay, so much nicer, right? Just that nice, because here's the flower, right? More
Yes.
delicate, right? Better.
Yes.
Much better. Okay, I'm going to get a little scrap of some, it's not really a scrap, but I want to get a piece of cardstock here so I can use some glue for this. And then we have something that we're going to do that I think is super fun. All right, so I'm using the back here. Now, if you wanted to thicken it up a little bit, you could cut 2 of these.
And I did vote for the white frame, just for the record, when you so quickly moved on after asking my opinion, as is custom.
Oh, you voted for white?
I did.
Okay. All right, that's good. That's good. All right, so let's get this in place. I'm using regular Connect glue here. I want to make sure that I have some wiggle room.
Sometimes I have to contact Gina through the comment section.
Yeah, I look over and I see a Tom comment. A Tomment. That's a Tom comment. A Tomment. Oh, did I make a word of the day, Tom? I think I did. Okay, so I think that that looks pretty nice, that frame going around the outside. I did use quite a bit of glue there, but that's okay. And now we're gonna put the inside pieces in here. And then we're going to drop that in like a puzzle. Let's get this in place. So here's the inside of the card, right? So we'll get that in there. And
Question, what master layouts can be used with A7?
A7 is 5 by 7, I believe. So master layouts 18 and master layouts 20, not 18, 8 and 20. All right, so now what we're going to do here is we are going to drop this in here like a puzzle piece, okay? And we want to get it nice and tacked down. So we want to make sure that it's not going to shift around. So I'm gonna start with tape. I think tape is going to be my friend here because I can lift the tape if I need to. And I want to make sure that the tape sticks everywhere. You can use glue. I just don't want the glue to ooze out anywhere. So we're going to lay this in place, and then we're going to drop this in like a puzzle. Okay, now it should open. There we go. So now you've got this beautiful card right on the front, and when you open it up, your card is decorated on the inside.
That is amazing.
Isn't that pretty? I love that. Now I was thinking, if you wanted to, you could also take a piece of clear acetate, like for a shaker card, and once you have it in place, then you could create a window. And what the window will do is it will hold down all these little pieces, so it'll still look like that's the front of the card. But the window itself will prevent the little pieces from moving around. So I think we should do that, and then we can finish off the inside edge with a window like this as well, because this way these aren't hanging loose. It's totally up to you if you want to. Have I ever showed this technique before? I may have done like a gatefold card that did this before, but I never did it where it was just one big solid piece, I don't think. And I feel like the window would even help more. Now that we've got that puzzle piece fit in there nicely, and you know, if you wanted to put another one up here, you could. And you could have done the same thing, and you could have just put all these different little puzzle pieces right through, so you know they line up and they're going to look beautiful when it's closed. But then you can add your acetate afterwards. So let's add a little piece of acetate here. Remember, Connect glue will dry clear, and if we even use the matte glue, it will dry matte. But I'm going to see if I cut this down to 3.5. Maybe I go a little bit bigger. 3 5/8. 3 5/8. It's very hard to see. 3 5/8 by 4 7/8.
So questions coming in on how to hide the glue.
How to hide the glue?
Yeah, some suggestions on using another white thin frame.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said I would add a frame on the inside so that it would hide it. We could definitely do that. Something else that we could do. I have an idea. Should I do my idea here that I have? I have an idea. Let's see if I can come up with another thing here. So we'll try this. Let me get a piece of innocent pink cardstock. Okay. And let me cut a quarter sheet, but I'm not going to keep it as a quarter sheet because I think that's going to be too hard to line up. What I'll do is I'll take it down to 4 by 5 1/4. That would be a nice frame size for the inside, right? So if we wanted to have a frame on the inside, that would be an even frame all around. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. First, I'm going to get some Masking Magic because it's a little hard to close. Masking Magic is like a dream product for this kind of stuff. And the other thing too here, see this little bit of white showing? I'm going to cut that off first. There's some fun techniques going on in this card. All right, I'm going to cut that off first. So I'm putting the bottom of the card right up to the blade, and then, there we go, got rid of it. So now we can't see that anymore down there. Okay, now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay this so that it's got even borders going around, so it's even on the inside. And you could do this with other colors if you want to. And then I'm going to take a piece of Masking Magic and hold it into place there and hold it into place there. Now I'm going to close it. Oh, let me do that a different way. That's not going to be strong enough. All right, so we're going to center it. And then I'm going to put some Masking Magic over it like that to hold it into place there. And I'll put some Masking Magic here and I'll wrap it around to hold it into place. And now I'm going to close it. All right. Now I'm going to take that die, okay, and I'm going to put the die into, I'm going to just snap it in here where it needs to go. Let's see, is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. But I need to be able to do, oh, I know what I'll do. I know what I'll do. Wait.
Was the tape blocking it at the bottom?
No, well it is, but that's not the problem. I gotta actually have this touching the pink. Okay, so I'm gonna use Masking Magic in there to hold that together, and now I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna peel this off. Okay. I need it to be in the same spot. All right, so now it's in the same spot. Now, with it in the same spot on that pink cardstock, forgot to clean my die out. See, this is why cleaning up as you go along is better, because then you're not panicking. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this on top till it snaps into place, okay? And now I'm going to put some Masking Magic here, put some Masking Magic here, some Masking Magic here. Now it's in the right spot. Now I'm going to try to cut that, okay? And that should be the right spot. Let's see. This is what I love. I love playing, and I love when you guys are here and we're like doing stuff like this together, because it's like, let's see if it works.
So does that mean you are currently in the middle of a
Oh no.
tridea?
I am.
A
It's
tridea.
a tridea.
Word of the day, oh hey, hooray! Let's laugh it up.
Okay, so now, now we're cutting it, and I don't necessarily trust that it cut all the way through, so I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna cut it again. This is my tridea. Oh, Tom, I love that word of the day. We should have a regular live every week called Trideas. All right, and now I have a window, and if my calculations are correct, and I don't know if they are, we're going to find out together. If my calculations are correct, we should be able to glue the acetate here, and then we should be able to lay this on top like that and line it up perfectly, which we'll be able to do. I'm just holding everything in place like that. And then you won't be able to see the acetate, and we'll have this kind of like suspended in between. This is turning into something completely different than a puzzle card. But, you know, that's how dreams work, right? You have a dream and you're like, oh, I gotta try that and see what happens. And then before you know it, you've got a whole different technique, something you never expected. We could make it a shaker card, but I feel like it's not gonna close if I put any foam in here, and I do want that to be nice and flat. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take some glue, and I'm going to put glue on these areas, because this is the whole purpose for this acetate to begin with, is so that these things don't pop up all over the place. They stay nice and flat. Just a little bit of glue around there. And the rest I'm not so worried about. The rest I can do with tape. So I'll tape onto the acetate. I think I could tape onto the acetate. Maybe on this side I could tape on. Yeah. I might have to glue a little bit. Let's see. I can always cut another piece of acetate if I need to. Let's see if this works. Will you see the glue? You might see it a little bit. So just to be safe, I'm going to trim this down at the bottom. I probably should have just glued around the perimeter, but that's all right. That's okay. We're going to make it work. No, I'm going to cut a different one. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't trust myself. The glue is fine. We can always add more glue. And I'm just going to put glue around the perimeter of the acetate because... Okay. 3.5 by 4 3/4. And by the way, if you can't see the acetate when you're cutting it, you can put it up against a regular piece of cardstock right on the edge, and then you'll be able to see it better. Okay, so we will add some glue around the edge here of the acetate. And I don't care if it like squeezes a little bit, that's fine. Here we go. Now I'm gonna, when I press down, I'm gonna press away from the window so that the glue, if it's going to spread, it's going to spread back instead of toward the window. I did not need that much acetate either.
Is that the matte glue?
This is the regular glue because you're not going to see it, so I always hate to waste the more expensive thing. And now we can line this up so it's perfect using Connect Glue. So I'm going to trim this bottom just a little tiny bit. You can get a little fussy with it, it's okay. If you want to just trim a little bit off here and there. Let me look at that again because I want it to be pretty straight. You know what? I think that's going to be fine. I think that's going to be fine. I'm not going to mess with it. So now this time, I'm going to put glue on the inside here. And if you don't like, you know how when you die cut, like it kind of curves the edges over this way? All you have to do to get rid of that is just get your score tool and you can just flatten that out a little bit. If it's bothering you, it doesn't really bother me. It would bother me more just to see that kind of ugly acetate than it bothers me to see the back of this. But you can always just take your score tool and just press on it a little bit and all of that comes out. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do tiny little dots here, just enough to make it tacky. That's why I'm using the regular Connect here instead of the matte, because you'll still see the matte if it gets on the acetate. It'll dry matte, but it'll still be like a blur. You don't see it on cardstock, but you would see it on something clear. So you can see I just used a tiny little bit here. Just going around, tiny dots. But it could be a full-blown shaker card if you wanted it to be. And now I'm going to add glue or tape for up here. Here. We can go down the side a little bit. The bottom. And here. I know everybody's worried that I'm going to get a paper cut when I rub my finger over it like that. All right, here we go. Now we're going to carefully line this up. You'll see the rest of it just disappear when you get it lined up properly. And then we'll just press those down. Now we have that pretty window. When you open it up, it's clean on the inside. Okay, so now you can write your greeting up in here. You could stamp your greeting up in here. You could sign it up here because it'll be hidden. But now we just have to put an outside greeting on here and a few embellishments. And that's all encased between those two pieces of cardstock. Now, if you want, you could always stamp this background stamp onto the inside to give it more texture. You can make it the full size. You just have to take it a little bit skinnier because it won't close because of the score line in there. So you'd have to make it like 4 1/8 by 5 1/2 instead of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, now let's do a greeting. I brought Elegant Greetings in for this because I love this stamp set. And I actually have a birthday coming up that I need a birthday card for. So I'm thinking maybe I could do this happy birthday design here. Would also make a really pretty get well card, wouldn't it? It'd be a beautiful get well card and also a beautiful sympathy card. I always say with sympathy cards, make sympathy cards when you don't need them because they're too hard to make when you do. So we could turn that into a sympathy card and it could float too in there, but let's not put it in there. Let's put it right onto the outside. And you know what? I'll make it a birthday card. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stamp it right on here. I know that's very scary when this card is all done and it's ready to go. But I feel like it will take away from the card itself if we have like a white background. I know we could do it in pink, but I really don't want to lose the texture of this card. So I'm going to use my grip mat and I'm going to turn it into a birthday card. And I'll stamp it right onto the face of the card here. Anybody else nervous? Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If anybody else is nervous, don't be nervous, because the worst case scenario, if you do this and you're like, ugh, it didn't look good, it's a little bit skewed. Well, first of all, we can test it first by stamping it onto the acetate sheet. We can just lay the acetate sheet on here and stamp it on here first to make sure it's straight. But if it isn't straight, or we double stamp it, or something, you know, goes wrong, we can die cut it then, and we can just pop it up right over the mess. And it will, because the die cut will have a border, you'll be able to straighten it out, so it'll be okay. So I'm going to make this a birthday card. I am a little nervous, not going to lie. But
I would stamp it on the acetate and send it with the acetate.
With the acetate, just like here, just straighten it yourself when you get it. Okay, I think that looks good, but I think I need another stamping, because remember, our colored cardstock is textured, not textured, but it's all colored cardstock is not as smooth as our white. Nothing is as smooth as our white. So sometimes it takes a little bit more to get that crisp greeting on there. So you could stamp it as many times as you want if you have the Misty, just to get it nice and black. And I'd rather you stamp it several times and, you know, have it look good than stamp it once and just like squish it. Yeah, I know, I went right in, right? So there we go. The whole inside of the card is decorated. We dropped that little puzzle piece that we created right through the hole to make sure it was perfect. It's got that little shine from the window. And yeah, this evolved a little bit from my dream. In my dream, I actually made it a gatefold card, and it had more than one piece, and they fit a little bit more like a puzzle, but I'm happy with the way this turned out, and I think it just needs a little bit of sparkle on here. Now, I have black in the greeting, but I don't think I'm going to do black embellishments, because I've got black in the greeting there, and then I've got black in the border on the inside. I think I'm just going to use some of these little flat crystal clear sequins, and I'm going to use our Connect Matte glue, and I'm just going to add a few little sequins around there. I know, what would we do without the Misty, right? I don't know. I don't know what we would do without the Misty, because that would not be good. I don't think I could do it. All these techniques and everything that we do with the Misty. We'll put one here. And let's put one right in here. Okay, so we'll put 5 sequins. Let me recap my matte glue first. And because this cardstock is not super smooth, you can see a little bit of the texture in the greeting. It's smooth. When I say it's not smooth, it's as smooth as anybody else's colored cardstock, but our white cardstock is so extra smooth that everything just looks so crisp. And so the greeting has just a little bit of texture, but that's okay. I think it looks really pretty. There we go. And if we don't like that, and I might see what it looks like to pop up a greeting on here. But I'll do that off camera. And if I like it better, I'll put the popped up greeting right over it if I feel like it needs to look smoother. But there, we've got some little sparkle in there. We've got a nice little frame going around the outside. Yes, blingering. I do feel like a sequin right in there would have been nice too. Can I add one more? Anybody mind if I add one more? Now I have to add 2 more. I'll add one down here. because I have to have an odd number. Because Kathy Zilski told me I had to. Actually, that is a graphic design kind of rule where you have odd numbers and they look better. And I believe that, especially when it comes to like 2 or 4 versus 3. But once you start getting up there and you have like 9 sequins on there, I don't think the eye counts an odd number versus 8 as an even number. I think that's only when you just have a few. But I think that looks good. And I think I'm going to stamp this greeting onto white and pop it up because I just love our smooth cardstock. So there you go. We've got that beautiful little window. We puzzle piece that right down in there so it's the perfect spot, and then we can add any greeting we want in here. And there we go. Here's our finished card. What do you think, Tom?
I think, wow.
Yeah? You like that?
I don't know where that came from, but
I don't either. I think when I take a picture of it, I'll take a view like that too, so you guys can see, you know, how that looks. And then I got a little sticky in there that I have to clean off. There we go. There we go. Yeah, very fun. I like that one. And I think you could do it top fold too if you wanted. And then it sits up a little bit better, but I decided to do this one book style today. This would be one I'd give my mom because she didn't like top fold because she couldn't figure out how to open them. She liked it better this way. And another thing you could do, I'm just like thinking of some stepping up, you could wood grain this with a little bit of soft stone and it would have like a whitewash look. And that might give it a little more texture too. So there we go. Now we're going to give away a gift card today, guys. So don't leave. And if you haven't left a comment, just go ahead and drop a comment in there. Say hello. Tell us where you're from. Tell us if you like this card, if you would have done it differently. Whatever you want to say it now because Tom is going to pick a winner. But before he does, if you like today's video, and we sure hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up. And also if you're new here and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and all notifications so you never miss another video. And then if you're not a member of our Facebook group, we've got a really fun Facebook group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We'd love to have you over there. All you have to do to join is answer the 3 questions so we know you're a real person and a real crafter, and then agree to our group rules, and we'll let you right in, and you will be floored by all of the beautiful inspiration that our members post in there every single day. It's a very active group, and it's a very supportive group too. So if you want to share your Gina K Designs projects over there, we'd love to see them. And then another big shout out to Brianne Loveland for linking the products that I used today. Thank you so much for being here, Brianne, day after day, week after week. We love you so much. If you missed any of Brianne's links, you can find everything that I used in today's video on our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, Tom, are you ready to give out a gift card?
I am ready to give out a gift card.
All right, we have a $15 gift card ready for one lucky chatter. So go ahead, Tom.
Drum roll, here it comes. And today's winner is Riva Moyer, 1189. Riva Moyer.
Yay, Riva! Congratulations, Riva. You are our winner. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get that digital $15 gift card out to you. You can use it whenever you want, even during our new release, because they never expire. Which reminds me, next Tuesday night is our release party. We are going to be releasing some brand new stamps and dies and stencils, and we have a brand new card kit and a brand new master layout set coming. So lots of inspiration on the horizon using all of those products. And we're going to be joined by some of our illustrators, and we will have lots of beautiful card inspiration for you. So we hope you will join us for that. That's next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on YouTube on our channel. We hope you'll join us. In the meantime, everybody, check out our Facebook group because we're going to start sneak peeks this weekend of all of the new things that are coming. And Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.